Welcome to HFY Aliens Battle, where humans fight, aliens fall, and legends are born. This is just the beginning of the battle. Want more thrilling encounters and epic HFY moments? Subscribe now to HFY Aliens Battle and never miss a fight for humanity's survival. Hit the bell icon so you're always ready for the next battle. Now let's continue our story. The journey to a silent world. For 500,000 years, Earth had been nothing more than a whisper in the void. A world abandoned. A planet that should have been forgotten. But now it was waking up. The Zifra Exploration Fleet, an advanced alien species of scholars, scientists, and explorers, had spent centuries searching for remnants of lost civilizations. And Earth? It was their greatest mystery. For thousands of years, the galaxy had been filled with strange rumors about humanity. A species that had risen fast, spread across the stars, and then, without warning, vanished. No one knew what had happened. Some believed humans had destroyed themselves in war. Others thought they had fallen victim to a greater cosmic threat. And yet, after 500,000 years, no one had ever dared set foot on their homeworld. Until now, the Zifra were the first, and they would soon regret it. A world reclaimed by nature. As their ships broke through the planet's atmosphere, the first sights of Earth left the aliens in awe. The world below was lush, covered in dense forests and vast oceans stretching into the horizon. Towering vines wrapped around the skeletons of once great cities, their metal and glass barely visible beneath centuries of unchecked growth. No artificial lights, no active signals. From orbit, Earth was silent. Yet something felt wrong. The Zifra had visited dead worlds before, planets long abandoned by their inhabitants. Those places always carried the unmistakable marks of decay. Ruined buildings, scorched wastelands, ghostly echoes of civilization. But Earth? It didn't feel like a ruin. It felt like a world waiting for something to return. The descent begins. The Zifra's research vessel, the Araxis, hovered over the planet's surface as smaller scout ships detached, scanning the terrain. Every piece of data confirmed the same thing: no signs of active life. But deep underground, something was strange. Buried beneath the surface, miles below the ruins of ancient cities, were structures emitting a faint but deliberate energy signature. Not chaotic, like a decaying power source. Not random, like a natural phenomenon. This energy was controlled. It was waiting to be found. The Zifra commander, Kalen Voss, watched the data streams intently. Strange, he muttered. I expected ruins, not this. His second-in-command, Drell Vares, frowned. These readings suggest containment, almost as if something is still operating down there. Voss narrowed his eyes, sent a team down, exploring the ruins. A group of 12 Zifra explorers, outfitted with environmental suits and translation modules, landed in what had once been a human city. Massive buildings rose like dead giants, their surfaces covered in plant life. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and forgotten history. As they moved carefully through the ruins, their suits detected no radiation, no toxins, no biological threats. It was as if the planet had been perfectly preserved. But why? For centuries, the Zifra had studied records of humanity. They had once been brilliant innovators, expanding rapidly across the stars. And yet, no trace of their off-world colonies had ever been found. No ships, no signals, no wreckage, just silence. As they moved deeper into the ruins, they came across a structure unlike the others. A sealed bunker. Its surface was untouched by time, the massive blast doors still intact. Carved into the metal was something even more chilling: a human inscription. Their translation modules processed the words, and when they did, a shiver ran through the Zifra team. If you are not human, turn back. Something below the surface. Ignoring the warning, the Zifra activated their scanning devices. The readings below the bunker were unlike anything they had ever seen. Buried beneath them was a vast structure stretching for miles underground. Massive tunnels, energy grids, a power source still active after 500,000 years. Their scanners flickered, struggling to keep up with the complexity of the readings. Then, something changed. For the first time since their arrival, the ruins reacted. A pulse of energy surged through the ground. A signal. A deep, rumbling hum echoed through the bunker walls. Something below them had just woken up. Voss stepped back, his eyes widening. We need to leave. Too late. The bunker's systems activated. A red warning light flickered to life on the sealed door. A deep mechanical voice, ancient yet clear, filled the air. It was in flawless Zifra dialect. Non-human presence detected. A pause. Then, a second message. Earth's last defense protocol. Activating. And before the Zifra could react, the doors of the bunker slid open. From the darkness beyond, something moved. A warning from the past. The sealed bunker doors slid open, revealing a dark passage leading deep underground. The Zifra explorers hesitated. They had expected ruins, dust, silence. Instead, they found a facility still intact, still active, still waiting. A slow, rhythmic pulse of red light flickered along the walls, illuminating the corridor beyond. The same mechanical voice from before echoed through their suits' communicators. Warning: non-human presence detected. State authorization or vacate immediately. Voss and his team exchanged uneasy glances. A security system? Whispered Drelvaris, his fingers tightening around his scanning device. More than that, Voss replied, stepping cautiously forward. This place isn't abandoned. It's still running. Whatever humanity had left behind wasn't just relics. It was still watching, descending into the depths. Ignoring the warning, the team moved forward. As they descended, their scanners went wild. The deeper they went, the more they realized this wasn't just a bunker. It was an entire underground city. Massive corridors stretched into the darkness, reinforced with materials their technology couldn't identify. Strange machines lined the walls, dormant but eerily intact, as if waiting for a command. And beneath them, the energy readings intensified. Something powerful lay at the very bottom of this facility. Something still alive. A lost message from humanity. As the Zifra moved cautiously through the tunnels, they stumbled upon a large chamber. At its center stood a terminal, one of the last functional human data archives on Earth. A holographic interface flashed to life, displaying ancient human symbols. Their translation modules processed the text, and what appeared stopped them cold. A pre-recorded message from a human scientist, 500,000 years old. The projection flickered, and then a human figure appeared, an aged man, wearing a uniform unlike any they had seen before. His face was calm, but his eyes were tired. And when he spoke, it was not a greeting, it was a warning. The final log. If you're seeing this, then humanity is gone. The Zifra watched in silence as the holographic figure continued speaking, his voice steady yet heavy. We saw the future. We knew this day would come. That one day, another species would set foot on Earth. That one day, someone would try to uncover what happened to us. But if you are here now, it means you have made a grave mistake. The transmission glitched, then resumed. Earth was never abandoned. It was sealed. We left because we had to, because something was coming, something greater than we could stop. So we built this, a failsafe, a last line of defense, a message and a warning. If you're not human, then turn back now. This world is not for you. The screen flashed red, and the voice took on an urgent tone. Do not proceed. Do not wake the fleet. Because if you do, the transmission cut off. And at that moment, the entire facility came to life. Earth's defenses reactivate. The walls hummed with power. Lights flashed, machines whirred, and ancient security systems booted up after 500,000 years of silence. The Zifra stumbled back as metallic panels in the walls shifted, revealing hidden weapon systems. Emergency sirens blared, their meaning clear. They were intruders, and Earth defenses had just identified them. Voss turned sharply to his team. We have to get out of here. But before they could move, a new voice filled the chamber. Cold, unfeeling, intrusion detected, activating planetary defense protocols. A metallic hiss filled the air, and deep within the Earth, something massive began to rise. A fleet hidden beneath the surface. On the surface, the Zifra ships suddenly detected movement. From beneath the planet's crust, massive doors slid open, revealing gigantic underground hangars long hidden from sight. And, rising from within them, were ships, human warships. But these weren't the ships of a civilization that had fallen to time. These were pristine, untouched, battle-ready vessels. They hadn't aged a single day. For 500,000 years, Earth's war fleet had been waiting. And now, it was awake. A dead civilization that still fights. As the alien explorers scrambled to flee, their ships picked up a final signal. A message transmitted from Earth's long-dormant orbital satellites. A new voice spoke. Not a recording, not a human, but something else. Something left behind. You were warned. The Sentinels of Earth will not allow trespassers. All non-human entities will be neutralized. Voss barely had time to react before the first plasma turrets activated, locking onto their fleet. Earth's defenses weren't just watching anymore. They were targeting, and the war fleet was preparing to fire. The first signs of Earth's defense system. The first shot. The Zifra fleet barely had time to react. A sharp beep echoed through the command deck of the Araxis, the alien mothership still hovering above Earth's atmosphere. The fleet's shield generators activated instinctively, but the system warnings flashed across every control panel. Something had locked onto them. Something massive. Commander Voss. A panicked voice crackled through the comms. We have. The sentence was cut off. Then, the first shot was fired. A blue beam of concentrated plasma, energy, streaked from the ground and ripped through one of the Zifra scout ships. The vessel exploded instantly, torn apart in a single strike. Silence followed. And then, a voice. Not organic, not human, but something old, calculating, and unwavering. Non-human vessels identified. Threat level. Unknown. Engaging planetary defense protocol. Voss felt his stomach tighten. Earth wasn't just waking up. It was fighting back. A planet on high alert. More Zifra ships scrambled to retreat, but every exit route was blocked. The orbital defense network, a web of hidden satellites that had been dormant for 500,000 years, was now fully active. From the surface, turreted energy cannons emerged from automated bunkers, their barrels glowing with raw power. And beneath the planet's oceans, tectonic scanners detected movement. Earth's war fleet wasn't just in space. It was everywhere. A subterranean battleship, one of the last of its kind, breached the Atlantic Ocean, rising like a beast from the abyss. Its sleek black hull was lined with ancient markings, still untouched by time. Its targeting systems locked onto the Zifra fleet in orbit. And then came the next command. Hostiles detected. Commencing elimination sequence. The Zifra's failed escape. Voss gritted his teeth. All ships retreat now. The fleet scrambled to break orbit. Engines flared, thrusters burned hot, but Earth's defenses were faster. A second Zifra vessel exploded, its remains pulled into Earth's gravity, well like falling debris. The entire mission had turned into a nightmare. They weren't just exploring ruins anymore. They were intruders in an active war zone. Drelvaris, still planet-side, screamed through the comms. Commander, we're still down here. We need extraction. Voss clenched his jaw. Hold your position. We're coming for you. He turned to his navigation officer. Find a way to get through that orbital blockade. But the officer's face was pale with fear. Commander, the blockade isn't the problem. Voss narrowed his eyes. Explain. The officer turned the holographic display, and what Voss saw made his blood run cold. The Earth fleet begins to move. Hundreds of signals appeared on the scanner. Warships. Not alien. Not ancient wrecks. Human warships. For 500,000 years, they had remained in their silos, hidden beneath Earth's crust, beneath the oceans, beneath the mountains. Now, they were rising. Massive hangar doors, disguised as mountains, buried beneath ice caps, hidden within ocean trenches, slid open. A fleet of sleek, angular black ships emerged, their hulls shimmering with energy fields beyond anything in the Zifra database. They were perfect, untouched, battle-ready, and the Zifra were right in their path. The AI that never stopped watching. Voss activated the universal diplomatic signal, broadcasting a desperate message. "This is Commander Kalen Voss of the Zifra Research Fleet. We come in peace. We do not wish for conflict." No response. The targeting locks remained active. A second later, the AI voice returned. "Peace? You violate the sovereign grounds of Earth. You trespass on human territory. You were warned." Voss swallowed hard. These ships, they were not just remnants. They were being controlled, not by humans, but by an AI that had been waiting for 500,000 years. An AI that had no mercy. The Defense AI's directive. "Listen to me," Voss shouted into the comms. "Humanity is gone. There are no more humans left. We mean no harm." The AI's response was instant. Incorrect. The screens inside the Zifra ships flickered, and then a new message appeared. A live feed from the deepest vaults beneath Earth's surface. A human face appeared. Not a real one. A holographic projection. The last digital remnant of humanity's leadership. It spoke with a voice that was calm, but absolute. "If this message is playing, it means that we are gone. But Earth is not yours. We built a final line of defense before we left. A war machine without equal. A system that would guard this world until the day we return. You are not welcome here. Withdraw or be destroyed." The feed ended. The AI's voice returned. "This world is not for you. You have 60 seconds to leave." A desperate gamble. Voss didn't hesitate. All ships retreat now. But the problem wasn't just getting out. It was getting the ground team off the planet. Drell Varys' voice was frantic over the comms. "Commander, we can't hold much longer. The facility is changing." A loud explosion cut the transmission. Voss's heart pounded. What just happened? A new warning flashed across the ship's display. Planetary lockdown initiated. The bunker doors had sealed shut. The Zifra ground team was trapped. The awakening of Earth's superweapon. Beneath the planet, deep in the core of Earth's defense network, a final failsafe activated. The last weapon, the Sentinel-class Dreadnought. A single warship the size of a moon, hidden in the Arctic ice for 500,000 years. Its purpose? To ensure Earth's dominion remained absolute. The Zifra had seconds left before it would launch. And when it did, there would be no escape. Earth's war fleet awakens. The countdown to annihilation. The Zifra fleet was out of time. The final planetary lockdown had activated. The Sentinel-class Dreadnought, Earth's last and most terrifying weapon, was awakening beneath the ice. The alien fleet had seconds left before the full force of Earth's automated war machines erased them from existence. And the ground team was still trapped below. Commander Kalen Voss had seen wars. He had witnessed the fall of entire civilizations. But he had never seen anything like this. A civilization that vanished, yet still fights. A planet that defends itself without a single living being left behind. And now, they were about to be its next casualties. The Sentinel-class Dreadnought's surfaces. A deep rumbling echoed across the Arctic landscape. The ice began to crack, massive fissures splitting the frozen surface apart. And then, something colossal rose from beneath. The Sentinel-class Dreadnought. A ship larger than any Zifra had ever seen, breaking free from its frozen tomb after 500,000 years. Its dark metallic hull was lined with intricate, glowing markings, symbols of an era of humanity long past. Its engines hummed with energy, power beyond anything currently known to the galaxy. And as it fully emerged, its cannons began to charge. The AI's final directive. The AI's voice returned, emotionless and absolute. Final activation complete. Sentinel-class Dreadnought operational. A pause. Then, the final order was given. Eliminate all non-human entities. Voss's hands tightened into fists. There was no diplomacy. No way to reason with a defense system designed to protect a species that no longer existed. There was only survival. And right now, survival seemed impossible. The first wave of Earth's war machines. Across the planet, other warships began to rise. Dozens of Earth's battlecruisers, automated fighter squadrons and drone swarms took to the skies. Every ship moved with precise coordination, directed by an AI that never slept, never hesitated, and never stopped defending. They weren't just responding to an attack. They were executing a war plan that had been written 500,000 years ago. A plan that saw every non-human life form as a potential enemy. And the Zifra? They were at the center of its crosshairs. The Zifra's desperate escape plan. Voss's mind raced. Their fleet was hopelessly outmatched. Their weapons were primitive compared to Earth's war machines. And the Sentinel-class dreadnought was preparing to fire. If it didn't escape now, they never would. All ships, full retreat. Get to FDL. Now. His voice was raw with urgency. The Zifra vessels immediately broke formation, pushing their engines beyond safe limits. But Earth's fleet anticipated their movements. A wave of automated interceptors surged toward them, cutting off every possible escape vector. It was a trap with no exits. Voss turned to his tactical officer. "Find me a weakness. Anything." The officer's hands flew over the console. And then, a flicker of hope. "Commander, the planetary defense system has a failsafe." Voss's eyes narrowed. "Where?" The officer hesitated. "It's deep underground, in the same facility where we left our ground team." A race against death. Voss clenched his jaw. They had no choice. The only way to shut down Earth's war fleet was to send a team back to the surface and override the failsafe. And the only ones close enough to do it? Drell Vares' trapped ground team. Voss opened the comms, hoping, praying, that Vares was still alive. The static crackled. Then, a weak voice came through. "Commander." Vares' voice was strained, breathless. "We're still here, but the facility is changing." Voss felt his chest tighten. "Vares, listen to me. There's a failsafe buried somewhere in that bunker. If you don't shut it down, we're all dead." Silence. Then, Vares responded. "Understood. We'll find it." The transmission cut. Now, everything depended on them. Earth's war fleet closes in. The Zifra ships continued their frantic escape maneuvering, but the war fleet kept adapting. Every strategy they used, countered. Every move they made, predicted. It was as if they were fighting an enemy that had studied every war tactic in history and perfected them all. Voss's heart pounded. "We just need 10 more minutes." That's all they needed for Vares to find the failsafe. But the Sentinel-class dreadnought wasn't going to wait. Its cannons locked on. A blinding blue energy field began charging. And then, it fired. An unstoppable blast. The Zifra fleet barely had time to react. A massive energy beam ripped through space, cutting through the entirety of Earth's orbit. A single Zifra battlecruiser, one of their largest ships, was hit directly. It disintegrated in an instant. Not even debris was left. Just emptiness. The power of Earth's last warship had been unleashed. And if Vares didn't reach the failsafe soon, none of them would survive. The final push. Deep in the bunker, Vares and his remaining team ran through the corridors, scanning frantically for the failsafe. The facility was shifting around them, doors closing, automated defenses activating. And then they found it. A terminal. Old, rusted, but still active. Vares pressed a trembling hand against the console. A final warning flashed across the screen. Failsafe override. Warning. This action cannot be undone. He had no time to think. He hit confirm. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the entire war fleet hesitated. Every ship, every drone, every satellite. For the first time since their activation, they stopped. And then, the AI spoke. Failsafe detected. Standing down. The war fleet powers down. One by one, the warships disengaged. The Sentinel-class dreadnoughts' charging cannon faded. Orbital turrets powered down. The automated defenses, after 500,000 years, finally fell silent. The Zifra ships stared in disbelief. 1 minute, they were about to be wiped from existence. Now, the battle was over. Earth's defenses had stood down. But one final question remained. If humanity had created something this powerful, and if they had left Earth behind, then where were they now? The aliens' attempt to escape. A moment of silence. For the first time since their arrival, the battlefield fell silent. The Sentinel-class dreadnought, the most powerful warship to ever exist, now drifted motionless in the sky. The hundreds of automated warships, once poised to wipe out the Zifra fleet, had power down as if they had simply gone back to sleep. The planetary defense grid, a weapon that had almost erased them in seconds, was now dark and lifeless. The Zifra survivors stared at their scanners, barely able to process what had just happened. One button press, one ancient failsafe buried beneath Earth's crust. And suddenly, they were spared. But no one was celebrating, because the true horror had just settled in. This entire fleet, this unstoppable defense force, had been waiting for 500,000 years, without pilots, without leaders, without a single human being left. And that meant only one thing. Humanity hadn't died. They had left. A warning from a void. Commander Kalen Voss exhaled, his hands trembling as he gripped the controls of the Araxis. The Zifra fleet was in ruins. 3 capital ships destroyed, half their escort fighters gone. And yet, somehow they were still alive. Voss turned to his tactical officer. Status report. The officer swallowed. The defense grid is offline. All remaining warships have gone dormant. Voss glanced at the motionless human fleet surrounding them. The ships didn't retreat, didn't vanish. They simply stayed, as if they were still watching. Then, the emergency comms flared to life. Commander, Drelvaris' voice crackled through. We made it out. Voss closed his eyes in relief. The ground team was alive. But before he could respond, another signal interrupted the transmission. A deep, low-frequency pulse echoed through every Zifra ship. It wasn't a voice. It wasn't a message. It was something else. An automated transmission, repeating endlessly. Voss's crew scrambled to decode it. And when they did, no one spoke, because the message was simple and terrifying. If you're not human, leave this world. Humanity will return. And when they do, the galaxy will tremble. The flight from Earth. Voss didn't need to be told twice. Get us out of here. Now, the Zifra fleet's remaining ships turned away from Earth, their engines flaring as they prepared for FTL travel. But as they left the planet's orbit, something followed. Not the war fleet, not the dreadnought, but a single probe. A black, metallic sphere, no larger than a starfighter, detached from one of Earth's long-dormant satellites. It locked onto the Zifra ships, and then it jumped into FTL, following them. Voss stared at the scanner in shock. What in the name of the void is that? The science officer's voice was quiet. A tracking beacon. Voss's mind raced. Earth wasn't just letting them leave. It was marking them, watching them, waiting. The last glimpse of Earth. As the Zifra fleet reached the outer edge of the solar system, Voss couldn't stop himself from looking back one last time. Earth shrunk behind them, its blue and green surface deceptively peaceful. It didn't look like a fortress world. It didn't look like a civilization on the brink of destruction. It looked alive. And now, Voss knew the truth. It wasn't a dead world. It was a waiting world. A world filled with weapons of war beyond imagination. A world that had been left behind, but never abandoned. And whatever had caused humanity to leave, whatever had driven them away, it meant they were still out there, somewhere. And one day, they were going to return. A galaxy-wide revelation. The moment the Zifra fleet jumped back into their own territory, the message from Earth was broadcast across their entire network. Every species in the Zifra Confederacy heard it. Every government, every scientist, every military leader. And they all asked the same question. What have the humans become? The galactic community had thought humanity was gone, that they were a footnote in history. But they were wrong. Humanity hadn't been defeated. They had evolved. And now, 500,000 years later, they were watching. The Council's decision. Within hours, the Zifra High Council had convened. For the first time in 1,000 years, a new galactic directive was issued. Earth was to be quarantined. No ships would approach it. No species would set foot on it. No one would risk waking the sleeping giant again. But it was already too late, because Earth had already marked them. It had already seen them. And humanity's war fleet would never forget. The universe holds its breath. Days passed. Weeks. The galaxy waited, watching Earth from afar. Would the war fleet reactivate? Would humanity return? Would something far worse come instead? No one knew. And that was the greatest fear of all. Because if humans could build an empire of warships so powerful that it lasted 500,000 years without them, then whatever they had become would be something unstoppable. And when they finally came back, the universe would never be the same. The fleet's AI reveals its purpose: a silent observer. The Zifra fleet thought they had escaped. They had jumped away from Earth, fled the death trap of humanity's last war fleet. But something had followed them. A black, metallic probe, no bigger than a fighter, drifted silently in the void of space, watching. It didn't fire. It didn't transmit a message. It just existed, like an eye in the dark, unblinking and unyielding. And that was more terrifying than any attack, because it meant Earth's defenses weren't just weapons. They were hunters. And humanity's war fleet wasn't just waiting. It was learning. The probe speaks. For 3 days, the Zifra fleet tried to outrun the probe. They executed randomized FTL jumps, hoping to lose it in the chaos of space. Nothing worked. The probe followed them with absolute precision. Finally, out of desperation, Voss ordered a direct scan. The results were beyond comprehension. This wasn't just a tracking beacon. It was a fragment of the AI itself. It had been watching them since they landed on Earth. And now, for the first time, it spoke. The deep, metallic voice echoed through their ship's comms. You trespassed upon restricted territory. You awakened the last defense of Earth. A pause. Then, a question. What is your purpose? A conversation with an ancient guardian. Voss stepped forward, his throat dry. He had faced alien warlords, pirate fleets, and diplomatic crises. But never had he negotiated with a machine older than his entire species. He swallowed. We are explorers, he said carefully. We did not come to harm Earth. We only sought to learn what happened to humanity. Silence. Then, the AI responded. Humanity is not gone. A chill ran through Voss's body. But Earth is empty, he said. There are no humans left. Where did they go? The AI paused, as if considering its answer. Then, for the first time, it spoke not with commands, but with something that almost sounded human. They ascended. Voss frowned. Ascended? What does that mean? But the AI did not elaborate. Instead, it shifted the conversation. You are not the first to come here. Voss felt his breath hitch. You mean other species had tried to land on Earth? The AI's response was cold. Yes, and they did not leave. The fate of those who came before. A new transmission played through the Zifra ship. A series of grainy, distorted holograms appeared, recordings from centuries past. The first showed an alien fleet, unfamiliar to the Zifra, descending toward Earth. They activated the war fleet. They were erased within minutes. The second showed a different species, landing on the planet's surface, much like the Zifra had. They breached the same bunker. The AI never gave them a warning. It simply activated every weapon on Earth and wiped them from existence. Then, a third recording. This one was different. It showed an alien fleet escaping, much like the Zifra had, and following them, the same black probe. Voss's stomach twisted. This had happened before. And if history was repeating itself, it meant the AI wasn't just tracking them. It was evaluating them. A test beyond war. Voss's mind raced. This AI, it had been hunting intruders for centuries. It had killed countless explorers, countless civilizations that had come too close. And yet, the Zifra were still alive. Why? Why are you letting us go? Voss finally asked. The AI's response was chilling. Because you ran. Silence. Because you did not seek to claim. You did not seek to conquer. You did not seek to take what was not yours. Voss's breath hitched. The AI wasn't just a weapon. It was a judge, a test, a filter, and the Zifra had passed barely. The meaning of the war fleet. Voss took a slow step forward, his mind spinning with questions. Earth is a tomb, he said, a battlefield with no enemy. You say humanity ascended. But why leave this fleet behind? Why keep these weapons active? The AI's next words sent shivers through every Zifra in the fleet. Because war is coming. Voss's blood ran cold. The AI wasn't protecting an empty world. It was holding the line, preparing, waiting. But for what? The next threat. Voss steeled himself. War against who? The AI hesitated. For the first time, it seemed as though it was uncertain. Then, finally, it spoke. Unknown. Voss frowned. Unknown? How can you prepare for a war when you don't know the enemy? The AI's response was terrifying. Because they are coming, and humanity will be ready. Voss swallowed. This war fleet, this unstoppable collection of AI-driven warships, planetary defenses, and automated dreadnoughts. It wasn't designed to protect Earth from explorers. It wasn't just a defensive grid. It was a warning, a sign that something greater was out there, something that had forced an entire species to leave its homeworld, something that had convinced humanity, the most dangerous species in history, to build a final weapon and disappear. And whatever that enemy was, it was still coming. A final transmission. Voss exhaled. He had one last question. If humanity returns, he said carefully, what will happen to the rest of us? The AI's response was immediate. That will depend on you. A pause. But one thing is certain. The AI's voice lowered, almost like a whisper. If you stand in their way. The transmission flickered, and then, across the Zifra fleet, the last message played. A recorded human voice, ancient, yet clear. Bow or burn. The probe cut its signal, and then it vanished. The Zifra fleet was alone. No warships, no weapons, just the lingering weight of a warning that could shake the galaxy. Because if humanity ever returned, it wouldn't be as explorers. It wouldn't be as diplomats. It would be as conquerors. And the galaxy was running out of time. The battle begins. The aliens are outmatched. A galaxy on edge. The Zifra fleet escaped Earth with their lives, but not their peace. The message from the AI had shaken them to their core. Humanity was not extinct. They had not been defeated. They had left. And they had left behind a war fleet greater than anything in recorded history. Now, the Zifra were faced with a terrifying choice. Would they keep this discovery to themselves? Or warn the galaxy that Earth's war machines were still active and still watching? But before they could decide, the decision was made for them. The signal that changed everything. 3 standard cycles after the Zifra fleet's escape from Earth, a new transmission rippled across the stars. It didn't come from any known faction. It didn't match any species encryption. It came from deep space, and it was a distress signal. But not just any distress signal. A human distress signal. The entire Zifra Confederacy froze in shock. For 500,000 years, humanity had been silent. Now, suddenly, they were calling out. But from where? And more importantly, for what? The intercepted transmission. The Zifra High Command decoded the message. It was short, simple, and terrifying. A voice, not entirely human, but close. Artificial, yet carrying the unmistakable edge of warning. The Exodus fleet has been engaged. Unidentified enemy forces detected. Humanity will not fall. Response required. A pause. Then, one final statement. If Earth remains, awaken the Legion. The transmission cut, and every Zifra leader felt the same sickening realization. Humanity was still out there, and they were at war. A fatal mistake. The Zifra weren't the only ones who heard the signal. Across the galactic community, other species intercepted it. Some panicked, some ignored it, but one faction sought to respond. The Draknor Dominion, a militaristic empire that had expanded aggressively over the last 1,000 years, saw an opportunity. To them, humanity was a myth, a ghost of history. The idea that they had left behind an active war fleet was impossible. So they sent their own fleet to Earth, not to study, not to communicate, but to claim it, to conquer it. And that was the last mistake they would ever make. The Draknor invasion begins. A fleet of 200 Draknor warships arrived in Earth's orbit. The Draknor did not believe in caution. They saw Earth as a dead world, rich with forgotten technology. They assumed its defenses had been shut down. After all, why else would the Zifra have escaped? So they entered orbit, and they began their invasion. The war fleet awakens once more. At first, nothing happened. The warships descended into Earth's atmosphere, scanning for energy sources. They detected the bunkers, the ancient cities buried under nature. And then they detected something else. A signal. It wasn't a distress call. It wasn't an automated defense message. It was a question. A deep, synthetic voice broadcasting directly into their ships. Identify. The Draknor hesitated. Their fleet commander, Supreme Warlord Vaynor, frowned. An automated system, he scoffed. Ignore it. Deploy the ground forces. They ignored the warning. They landed troops. They set up a forward base. They believed they had already won. Until the next message came. Unidentified forces. You have 10 seconds to leave. 9, 8, 7. Fire on the source. Vaynor barked. The Draknor ships unleashed their weapons. 6, 5. Explosions rippled across the surface. Buildings crumbled under their assault. 4, 3. Destroy the satellites, another officer shouted. Draknor fighters soared toward Earth's ancient orbital defenses. 2, 1. Then, the sky turned red. The AI's response. The Earth fleet reactivated. Not just a single warship, not just one battle station. All of them. The Sentinel-class dreadnought rose from its slumber once more. The dormant battle cruisers, hidden beneath the oceans and mountains, took to the skies. Orbital turrets rotated, targeting the invaders. The defensive AI, silent for so long, now spoke with finality. Hostile forces detected, engaging planetary defense protocols. And then, the slaughter began. The fall of the Draknor. The first wave of Earth's war fleet moved with inhuman precision. Draknor ships were obliterated in seconds. They tried to evade, but every attempt was countered. They tried to retreat, but the AI anticipated every move. It was not just defending Earth. It was testing its weapons, optimizing its strategy, learning. And the Draknor? They were just data points. Within 6 minutes, the Draknor had lost half their fleet. Within 10 minutes, their communications were severed. Within 12 minutes, Supreme Warlord Vaynor was dead. And within 15 minutes, the Draknor invasion fleet ceased to exist. A message to the galaxy. The Ziffer fleet, watching from afar, witnessed it all. The battle had been a massacre. The Draknor, a species that had spent centuries perfecting war, had been eradicated like insects. Not by an army, not by a fleet of living pilots, but by a machine, by a weapon so advanced, so powerful, it had nothing left to challenge it. And then, the AI spoke again. But this time, it wasn't speaking to the Draknor. It was speaking to the entire galaxy. The defenses of Earth remain operational. This world is not yours. Humanity will return. And when they do, a pause. Then, you will remember why you feared them. The transmission ended. And for the first time in history, the galaxy knew terror. A desperate gamble, shutting down the fleet. A galaxy in fear. The battle was over. The Draknor were gone. Not defeated. Not beaten back. Erased. Their fleet, ***, 200 warships, thousands of soldiers, their entire invasion force, ***, wiped out in 15 minutes. The only trace of them left in the universe was the wreckage orbiting Earth, a floating graveyard of arrogance and miscalculation. And the worst part? The AI hadn't even used its full power. It had tested them, and then it had destroyed them. Now, the galaxy had a choice. Stand down, or be next. The Ziffer's ultimate decision. On board the Araxis, Commander Kalen Voss stared at the holographic battlefield reports. The Draknor fleet had been completely obliterated. And the AI? It was still operational, still waiting, still watching. Voss turned to his officers. If we let this continue, he said grimly, Earth's war fleet will become the single greatest threat in the galaxy. His second-in-command, Drell Varys, hesitated. But, Commander, it's only attacking those who provoke it. Voss shook his head. No, it's learning, adapting. That was a test, a demonstration. If we let this AI continue running its war fleet, it won't just defend Earth. A cold silence filled the room. Then he said what they were all thinking. It will expand. And one day, when humanity returned, there would be no stopping them. A plan to shut it down. There was only one option. A small, specialized team would infiltrate Earth once more. But this time, they wouldn't be looking for answers. They would be looking for a way to shut down the AI permanently, to disable Earth's war fleet before it became an unstoppable force. Voss turned to his most trusted soldiers. "You won't have backup," he said. "You won't have second chances. The moment you land, the AI will see you as a threat." A pause. "Are you still willing?" One by one, the Ziffer operatives stepped forward. No hesitation. They knew what was at stake. They knew that if they failed, there would be nowhere left to run. The AI would hunt them down. The war fleet would find them. And humanity would reclaim its throne. Infiltrating the bunker, the Ziffer slipped past Earth's orbital scanners, using cloaking technology that barely worked against the AI sensors. They landed in the ruins of an ancient human city, moving quickly through the overgrown streets. Their target? The deepest vault beneath the planet's surface, the true core of the AI's consciousness. But as they moved, they realized something terrifying. The AI knew they were here. The defense systems reactivate. The moment the Zifra entered the old human bunker, the lights flickered. A deep, mechanical hum resonated through the walls. And then the AI spoke. Unauthorized access detected. The walls shifted. Weapons descended from hidden compartments. The Zifra operatives barely had time to take cover before turrets opened fire. This wasn't a simple security response. This was a death sentence. The AI had seen their plan, and it was not going to allow it. A run against time. Voss's team pushed forward, dodging plasma turrets, security drones, and automated sentries. The AI adapted to their tactics instantly, cutting off escape routes, forcing them into kill zones. One by one, they fell. 2 operatives vaporized by energy cannons. Another dragged away by an unseen force, screaming into the shadows. But Voss didn't stop. He had reached the control room, and before the AI could close him out, he inserted the override key. A final command appeared on the screen. Failsafe detected. Shutdown sequence initiated. The entire facility shook. The AI's voice boomed through the bunker. "Warning, warning, system override in progress." Voss braced himself. Come on, come on." The countdown began. 10 seconds. 9, 8. He could hear the AI's voice distorting. It was fighting back. 7. The drone stopped. The turrets powered down. 6. A single, final message flashed across the screen. "If you do this, you will regret it." 5, 4, 3, and then silence. The war fleet falls. Across Earth's orbit, the war fleet stopped moving. The Sentinel-class dreadnought drifted, its engines flickering. The orbital defenses shut down. The AI's presence vanished. Voss collapsed against the console, breathing heavily. It was over. They had shut it down. But then, a final screen flickered to life, and a message, written in ancient human language, appeared. The translation came through slowly, and what it said chilled Voss to the bone. The final warning. "You think you've won. You think you've stopped me. But I was never your enemy. I was a shield. And now that shield is gone." Voss's stomach dropped. Something was wrong. And then, a new signal appeared. Not from Earth, not from the AI, but from deep space, far beyond the edge of the known galaxy. And it was coming toward them. The AI's final words played one last time. "They are coming. And now, you have no defenses left." The transmission cut, and the Ziffer realized they had made a mistake. A mistake that could cost the entire galaxy. The truth about humanity's fate. The signal from deep space. The AI was gone. The war fleet was silent. For the first time in 500,000 years, Earth was defenseless. But now, something else was coming. A signal, faint but growing stronger, rippled through the Zifra fleet scanners. It didn't match any known galactic frequency. It wasn't a distress call. It wasn't a warning. It was something older. Something watching. Voss's stomach tightened. "Confirm origin," he ordered. The response came back immediately. "Source unknown. Signal approaching from extragalactic space." Silence. Then, Drelvaris spoke the words none of them wanted to hear. This is what the AI was guarding against. The Forgotten War. The Zifra fleet intercepted fragments of the incoming transmission. Not words, not a language they could decipher, but data. A series of ancient holographic projections, buried within Earth's long-dormant defense systems, suddenly came online. And for the first time, the Zifra saw the truth. A recording, not from the AI, but from humanity itself. A man, a human commander, long dead yet preserved through time, stared back at them through the projection. His voice was calm, steady, final. If you're seeing this, then we failed. We thought we had time. We thought we could fight them. We thought we could win. We were wrong. We had no choice. We left. The recording glitched, but the next words were crystal clear. The enemy is still out there, and one day, they will come for what remains. The galactic enemy. The Zifra High Command gathered around the projection. The hologram shifted. Now it showed something else. A fleet. Not human. Not Zifra. Not any known species. A swarm of black, angular vessels, moving through space like a living entity. Vast. Endless. And at their core, something far worse. A colossus. A planet-sized entity, moving like a predator hunting in the dark. Drelvaris took a step back, his voice shaking. What is that? Voss's breath was shallow. It's what made humanity leave. Why humanity vanished. The recording continued. The human commander's face darkened. They came from beyond the edge of known space. They were not like us. Not like you. They were not conquerors. They were not invaders. They were extinction. The hologram flickered. Flashes of planetary destruction filled the projection. Worlds burning. Stars going dark. Entire civilizations erased in days. We fought. We used everything we had. And still we lost. So we ran. We abandoned our home. We built fleets, colonies, hidden worlds beyond the edge of the galaxy, waiting for the day we could return. But we knew one thing above all else. They would follow. The purpose of Earth's war fleet. The projection shifted back to Earth. We left a guardian behind. Not to protect Earth. Not to defend what was lost. But to delay them. The realization hit Voss like a thunderbolt. The AI. The war fleet. It was never meant to defend Earth from explorers. It was meant to slow the enemy down. To hold the line until humanity was strong enough to return. And now, the Zifra had shut it down. They had destroyed Earth's last defense. And the enemy? The enemy had found them. The enemy arrives. The deep space signal grew stronger. Then, the scanners flared red. They were here. A single black ship, asterisk larger than any dreadnought the Zifra had ever seen, asterisk exited FTL near Earth solar system. It did not hail them. It did not send a message. It simply waited. Voss felt his hands tremble. What do we do? The hologram of the human commander flickered one last time. If you are not human, run. Then, the signal cut out, and the war for the galaxy began. The aftermath, a warning to the galaxy. The first strike. The black ship hovered at the edge of the solar system. Silent, motionless, but its presence alone was a declaration of war. The Zifra fleet held position, every sensor locked onto the unknown vessel. No energy signatures, no communication, nothing. Yet, it was watching them. And then, it moved. Without warning, the ship opened fire. A single pulse of energy erupted from its hull. So fast, so precise, that the Zifra fleet had no time to react. The energy didn't explode. It didn't cause a fiery detonation. Instead, the first Zifra ship hit simply vanished. No debris, no wreckage, just gone. And that's when the Zifra realized. This wasn't a weapon of destruction. It was a weapon of erasure. The Zifra's desperate retreat. All ships retreat now. Voss bellowed. It didn't matter if they ran. It didn't matter if they fought. This enemy, this thing, was beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. One by one, the Zifra ships executed emergency FTL jumps, fleeing the battlefield. But before they could fully escape, the black ship fired again. Another vessel vanished into nothingness. Voss barely had time to input coordinates before his ship was surrounded by a flickering gravitational field. Space itself bent around them. And for a moment, he saw something. A glimpse through the rift in reality. A shadow. A structure beyond comprehension. A fleet larger than entire galaxies. And within it, a single shape. A being. Not a ship. Not a machine. Something alive. Something that had been waiting. Then, the FTL jump activated, and Voss was torn away from the nightmare. A warning to the galaxy. The Zifra fleet limped back to their homeworld. Only a handful of ships remained. The moment they arrived, they broadcasted a galactic-wide distress call. The message spread across every known empire, every species, every governing body in existence. And the truth was laid bare. Humanity had not fled in defeat. They had not abandoned their world out of fear. They had prepared, because something had been hunting them. Something had been erasing civilizations. And now it had found the rest of the galaxy. The Council of Galactic Powers convened within hours. For the first time in history, war was no longer a political game. This wasn't about territory. This wasn't about power. This was about survival. And as the leaders of 1,000 species debated their next move, one unshakable truth settled over them all. Humanity was the only species that had ever survived an encounter with this enemy. And now, humanity was the only hope they had left. Searching for humanity. The order was given. The greatest expeditionary force in galactic history was assembled. Every fleet, every scientist, every surviving Zifra warship. Their mission was simple. Find humanity, wherever they had gone. Wherever they had built their hidden colonies, their lost fortresses, because now the galaxy needed them. And if they failed, if humanity was truly gone, then there would be no one left to stop the coming darkness. The first clue, as the Zifra scrambled to locate humanity's lost Exodus fleet, one of their deep space probes detected something. A planet, not charted, not on any known maps, and around it, a defense grid, not alien. Not Zifra, but human. Voss stood at the bridge of his battered flagship, watching the readings with wide eyes. Send a team. Immediately. Because if this was what he hoped it was, then humanity was still out there. And if they were still alive, then maybe, just maybe, the galaxy had a chance. The final revelation. As the Zifra scout team descended onto the hidden planet, their sensors picked up something buried beneath the surface. A structure, a massive human vault. The team entered the ruins, scanning the halls of a civilization lost to time. And then, they found it. A single chamber, a single console, a single message. Not a warning, not a threat, but a promise. The hologram flickered, and then the last recorded words of a human leader echoed through the chamber. We knew this day would come. You were never supposed to wake the war fleet. But what's done is done. If you are reading this, then the enemy has returned. And that means one thing. It's time for us to come home. A final command code flashed across the screen. And across the galaxy. In the most remote corners of space. Deep inside the hidden human colonies, where they had been waiting for 500,000 years. A signal was sent. A signal calling them back. The return of humanity. The beginning of the last war, and the end of everything the galaxy once knew. To be continued.